Question number 6. What have you learned about technologies from the process of constructing this product?
We used a wide range of different technologies, including
Wordle,
Bubble, Glogster,
SlideShare,
Prezi, Voki,
OpenStreetMap,
Video to MP3. The ones we successfully used and enjoyed using were
Video to MP3,
OpenStreetMap.org, Prezi,
SlideShare.
Bubble.
The ones that we had heard of before we started the project were
Video to MP3, Prezi.
and SlideShare.
The technologies we used that were best for were probably Prezi and SlideShare. We use them a lot on our blog, especially Prezi because it was an easy way but an interesting way to get a lot of information across. Interactive.
Yeah, we used SlideShare because obviously with SlideShare you had to create a PowerPoint on your normal computer first and then upload it to SlideShare, whereas with Prezi it's just a more jazzy PowerPoint really that is more effective and shows more technological skills.
The one we found hard was probably Glogster because it was quite hard to work with. It wasn't very cooperative, but we used it in the end for one of our questions for the evaluation.
We did try Glogster first and we didn't like it at all. But we did use it in the end for one of our questions.
But we didn't use it on just the blog.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
we didn't use it like if we wanted to upload a blog post, we didn't like it was too fiddly to use.
It's quite
Yeah.
hard because it's complicated in a way that every time you try to do something that you want, it won't let you do it. It's a bit like a notice board, and then it's got like post-it kind of notes on it, and then you can put videos on it. It looks good when it's finished, but it's also really time-consuming trying to put everything in, and the videos, if you want to upload a video onto it, it's really really complicated to do.
Also Voki was another one that we didn't use because we started like having a look at it for about 10 minutes and you create your little character which you can just do for days upon end, and then when you actually put the typing in to get it to sound in a voice, it doesn't sound right for
And it's
what you're doing.
It's quite simple.
Yeah.
It's not.
It can get a bit old, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Prezi is a program designed to incorporate presentations for all kind of areas, filming, media, business, even teachers use it in presentations for things like assemblies and everything. It's just a more modern version of PowerPoint where there's certain different kind of areas that you can exploit and use, whereas in PowerPoint it just gives you a lot more freedom than a normal PowerPoint does.
SlideShare from Prezi is like basically when you have Windows on your computer, you have PowerPoint. So what you basically do is you make a PowerPoint and then you go online onto SlideShare and then basically just like put your PowerPoint into like a slide thing. So it's pretty simple. It's not overly interesting, not as interesting as Prezi, but if you just want to make some quick notes or like get a few bullet points down without having it written down in your blog, like solid written stuff.
And OpenStreetMap is basically like Google Maps and Street View, whereas it gives you so many different options on looking for locations. So you get detailed routes on Google Maps. They don't put in like all the footpaths and that for routes, whereas on OpenStreetMap, if there's a designated location that really suits your filming, then they will show you the best way to get to it, regardless of whether there's actually roads there or anything. Well, new technologies have changed media production because you can now create media productions and whole films from photorealistic CGI, films like Avatar. There's also the whole animation series, including Pixar, where without new technology in media, you wouldn't be able to get films such as Monsters University, Toy Story 3, and Incredibles. And if you look at the original Toy Story from 1998 and then look at Toy Story 3, it really does show how technology has changed in so many years.
We started using iMovie when we filmed our preliminary task, but as we started editing with it, we realised that there wasn't really features and stuff to do that you could use. So we switched to Final Cut Pro, which allowed us to have more editing options.
Yeah, Final Cut allows us to have finer editing techniques, a wide range of editing techniques that wouldn't be available on iMovie. You can layer different sounds in, and also it's more precise and clean cut.
For Final Cut, we learned how to use it through like class tutorials from our teacher, and we also looked online at stuff like on YouTube and stuff to see how to do stuff like adjust the brightness, which we've used in our film, and like layer sounds.
Yeah, it was very, if there was bits that we didn't know how to do, and we would kind of look online and see what other people have like asked questions about, and it was kind of quite easy to find out answers because it's quite a well-known, well-used program.
Yeah, it's quite a professional program. Okay, so when we used Final Cut, it looked kind of scary to use, but then we decided that we might as well just put all our clips in order and then start editing from there. So what we did was we uploaded all our clips into iMovie and then transferred them into Final Cut. And then from there we put all our clips in order so it made sense to us. And then we cut it down. So it was really easy to cut down once we knew how. All you really need to do is use the razor tool, which sounds really scary. But yeah, and once you've kind of got them all in order and stuff, then you can start editing.
Editing wise, there's hundreds of techniques you can use in Final Cut, whereas in iMovie there's only a limited few. They're very detailed, and also whereas when you used to like slap a technique in there and then you had no kind of range as to how much or what percentage of that technique is being used, whereas in Final Cut you get all a toolbar up that tells you exactly, precisely, even like tenths of a certain effect that's being used, and you just type in the amount that you want and you're free to experiment as it shows you on the screen what it is doing as well, rather than you just putting in random numbers and then clicking OK and then it does it for you, and then you realise actually no, we don't need that, we actually need to go so much like back or so much forward, but you never know fully how much back, whereas with Final Cut editing you can literally put in to the nearest like tenth. Say if you start off with 5 of something and it doesn't look right, you can go 4.75 and it literally just does it for you there on the spot.
With the sound, our teachers gave us some, because we have to use copyright-free music, so our teachers gave us a website that had copyright-free music on, and we looked through a lot, some which were very useful and some which weren't, and then we decided to look through the actual horror section, because there wasn't a thriller film section, but a lot of the horror film kind of sound effects would fit our film, and then once we found one, we downloaded that off the internet, and then it was quite simple to just kind of put it in. The hard thing though was kind of layering it to fit. There was bits of it that would like be really, really loud that we didn't want to, so it was quite hard to try and really, really carefully edit it so it went high when we wanted it, and then was quieter, and then low, and it took time to do because you had to edit it all separately. You couldn't just input what you wanted it to do, and then also it was quite hard to fit the music with the sound effects of the girl's voice, because what we did was we filmed her separately and then had her voice over the music, and to try and fit that in with all the actual clips of the film to line up all up was quite time consuming, but once it was sorted it looked quite good.
So this is what we've learned about the technologies from constructing our product.